Once your armature is done, you want to go ahead and bring it over to me and I will grade it. This grade doesn't actually go under the grade book, but it does let you know where you're standing as far as how your overall sculpture grade will be affected by the quality of your work you've done so far and whether you need to fix things. Some of you will have armatures that are just built really well. Everything seems to line up and you might have small gaps, but overall it looks pretty good and it's solid and complete. Others of you are going to have issues with your armatures where you'll have gaps. Your job is to figure out whether this is a visual gap or a structural concern. If it's visual, the way that you can tell that is because if you try and move the pieces around it, it seems pretty solid. The only problem is that you've got a gap. Well, that can be fixed during the covering process. That's not something you're going to solve now. Others of you have a concern like this one, where there is a gap, but when I go to work with it, these pieces physically move a lot. This is a concern that does need to be repaired or fixed, and if you need assistance with that, let me know, because it's not a hard problem to solve. Then the overhangs. Some of you have slight overhangs that you are worried about that's ever so like your finger length. That is an easy thing for us to fix when we do the next covering step. Others of you have overhangs that are substantial, like this one. These cannot get covered up and do need to get cut down. Be very careful though, this is a way that students cut themselves, so watch how you're using either the scissors or the box. Okay, the next one that you can do is to duct tape your project. A reminder that this is something I do not provide for you. It does not increase your grade, it does not hurt your grade. This is something that you are choosing if it's something that's comfortable for all the families involved to do. I will say it's going to take in between 3 to 5 rolls of duct tape depending on the size of your project. And if you run out, I'm not going to let you have a day where you do nothing. I'll have you start covering it in paper, so you need to come prepared in advance. Then to cover the duct tape, all you're going to do is you're going to get swatches, and I recommend doing them this length, which is about 15 inches. One person can prep the duct tape. A reminder that we never use the orange handled scissors to cut duct tape, only the black handled scissors. And then you'll notice I just have them laying on the corner of the table and then stretching down. When you're ready to put it on your project, your biggest concern with duct tape is that it's going to want to pull back up again. So when you lay your duct tape, you start in the corners, lay it down, then push it into place. To do an edge, you just wrap this over. And then to do a corner, there's 2 options. Option 1 is to wrap it under and over. Option 2 is with the black scissors to cut it and then do it under and over. Option 3 is to kind of seal it from either edge and make a corner. And then you can either cut this off or you can fold it over, and with your next line of duct tape, you can cover up that seam. You might have overhangs in your project that you want to cover. The trick to covering an overhang is just you lay the duct tape where the overhang, like on the piece that is the problem, and then you pull it tight down, but you only seal it on the very bottom edge so that just kind of floats there in space. When you go to lay your next piece of duct tape, the trick is you want to cover the least amount possible. So I start by pushing in one corner, and then I pull it over, and then once I have my 2 corners placed, then I can go to the center and push out. But a reminder, and I even recommend having partners whose sole job is to take the back of a pair of scissors, and all of this needs to get pushed into the cardboard or it will all come off again, and you're gonna get creases. I wouldn't worry about that. That's not a big deal. This is, in the end, just an 8th grade art project, and we're gonna have creases in our duct tape. At the end of each class, you're gonna have brushes and rollers covered in glue, and if we don't wash these correctly, then they get ruined, and then you won't have them to use the next class time. In order to wash these out, we'll have a bucket, and in the bucket we always put hot water. You wanna just let them sit in the hot water for about 30 seconds to a minute. And I generally wash my hands during this time. Once that has happened, all you have to do is using your thumbs, you squish the brush under the water until the water comes out clear. As long as it's cloudy, it means you're taking out glue. Then you squeeze out all the excess water and it goes into our holder to dry for the next class.